Long before her name was whispered in fear, she was simply Marisha. She was born in a time when kings rose and fell with the wind, when the tribes of Israel trembled at the shadow of the Philistines. But the greatest shadow was not cast by armies. It was born in silence, hidden in the hills of Endor. They would call her many things: spirit summoner, enemy of God, the witch. But she was once a daughter, a sister, a girl who listened to the voices in the wind and believed they meant no harm. Her father's fields were poor, the soil thin and dry. So Marisha worked where she could, crushing herbs, brewing remedies, whispering words she thought were prayers. But she began to see more than herbs could heal. She saw flashes, a fever before it struck, a snake before it bit.
She saw Eliakim's death before the fever took him.
The whispers grew heavier than bread. Some called her blessed, others cursed. And in a place where fear was louder than truth, her welcome was ending. Alone, she walked into the hills, into a cave where no one would follow. And there, in the silence, she began to hear them clearly, voices not of the living. Saul, first king of Israel, anointed by the prophet Samuel, now a man hollowed by fear. Samuel was gone, the Lord silent, and the Philistine army gathered like a black cloud in the valley of Shunem.
Samuel, I need you.
And so, the king who banned the witches of Israel rode through the dark to seek the last of them. She saw through his disguise, but not before she felt the weight of his desperation. She had spoken to many shadows, but this was different.
Tomorrow you and your sons will be with me.
And so, the king returned to face the day that would end his reign and his life. The shadow of the prophecy settled heavily upon him, a weight he could no longer bear. The next day, the valley became a place of thunder and blood. Saul and his sons fought bravely, but the prophecy came true. The king fell, the light fading from his eyes as the sun set on his kingdom. And the woman of Endor returned to her silence, waiting for the next voice to call her name. The battle was over, and the mountain kept its dead. The victors returned, not to honor, but to strip and shame. They found the king, a crownless head, a wasted throne. They carried his glory to foreign temples and left his shame on display. Upon the wall of Beth Shan, the king and his sons became trophies for the gods of others. But in Jabesh Gilead, there were still men who remembered. They rode through the night, not for conquest, but for honor. They took him down, and the sons who had died beside him. They burned the bodies, for what remained was beyond the rites of burial. Beneath a tamarisk tree, they laid their bones, and Israel's first crown was lost to the wind.